Now I'm just going to show you which compost I use. So I like to use Jack's Magic. Quite often Wicks have an offer on this one. So let me set you back down. It might go off. I do apologise if it does. Right. So there we are. Right, so what I've got is Jack's Magic, which is multi-purpose compost. It's ideal for potting on and for sowing, and I like it because it did me well last year, and also it's quite often on a deal as well. I've added perlite to it to open it up, so it's not too claggy. It's got plenty of space for roots to grow. So I'm just going to use these pots. 7cm pots that I got from, I just got these from Pound Stretcher, so it was £1 for 15. So I'm just gonna pop these up, make sure there's no air pockets, and because I'm sowing seed, I'm gonna pat that down and make sure that there's no air pockets in there. Right, so I'm going to start with my flower sprouts. So I'm probably going to sow maybe four seeds to a pot of these. And you can just use the other plant pot like that to pop them down. Right, so let's get started. You can see those okay. Right, I'll take my gloves off because it's a bit fiddly opening them up. So these again are Davies ones. Now, I've got to be careful opening packets because sometimes they don't have the inner packet, but unfortunately these do. Give it a little shake, make sure they're down the bottom and not at the top. I'm very clumsy, I normally drop things. So how many, oh, we don't get many seeds in a pack. Wowzers. Okay, hopefully they've got a good germination. There's not many in there, can you see them? So like any other brassica, they look like little balls, but these are actually quite small, smaller than I thought they was going to be actually. I thought they'd be bigger than that. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 went in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, maybe add a couple more. See how we get on with germination. Hopefully they germinate quite well. So there isn't many. I'm going to save a couple back just in case anything happens. I can re-sow them in another couple of weeks time. Now it's important to have your label. I have this nice little label jar on my new shelf that I put up. Well, I say me and my husband. I actually finally got around to ordering some brackets for the greenhouse to put some shelving up. So I'm going to write what those are. So those are my flower sprout, and put the date on it so we can figure out how long they take to germinate. So it's the 5th of the 2nd. Sorry, I've gone all quiet on you now, haven't I? So life's been a bit chaotic as usual. Always something to be doing. Obviously we got that wood chipping done the other day, which was quite a long day. I'm really eager to get up the plot now and sort these paths out. It's something I can't wait to get going on. Let me put this to one side. So I might take these in to germinate. Like I say, it's a bit cold. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put the topping on. So I'm really silly. I'm just going to use a bit of vermiculite with some compost just shaked on the top. Just give it a little pat down. Oh, forget my brain. I tell you, I'm so forgetful at the moment. There's that much going on. It really is. Right, there we go. So last year our drama was really, obviously I had to have an operation, and obviously my mum had cancer and things like that, so not a lot got done. And now my husband has just been for an MRI today on his ankle, because what's happened is he's had an injury, and at some point, and it's grown, it's actually calcifying around the ankle and rubbing on the tendon. So depending on the outcome of this MRI today will determine as to whether he needs surgery. Now, what's the chances that he's going to need surgery on his foot when we get into the main swing of the season? So I'm going to have to be looking after him, and we're due to go away in May, so I'm hoping it actually won't come to that, but by the sounds of it, it might do. So we might be heading for another disruptive year this year. I can't seem to catch a break, really. But yeah, so it was a bit bonkers last year. There was an awful lot going on. My youngest son, William, was in the process of being diagnosed with his autism. So there was a lot of doctors' meetings and appointments and getting together with different practitioners. My elder son, Joshua, as you know, I homeschool now because of his autism. Day-to-day life living with ASD is really quite difficult, but you know, when you've got 2 autistic boys, 5 children in general, and one that's epileptic as well, my daughter's epileptic, life's really quite challenging, and then you throw in these extra things. That's why I'm always busy and frazzled. So now I'm going to do those broccoli rabe 60 days. I wouldn't have actually picked these up in the shop if I'd gone to the shop. That's why it's sometimes good to get your magazines like Grow Your Own, because you'll get something that you wouldn't normally have maybe picked up, and it might be something that we really enjoy. So again, I'm just going to sow very thinly in a pot, and then as they come up we'll thin out and keep the stronger ones. So I mean, you can sow into seed trays, you can sow direct into the ground. I just like to do them in smaller pots because they're easier to keep track of, and then I can prick out as and when I need to, and it doesn't look so much when I keep bringing them in the house. Eventually I'm going to get found out, but so far I've only got a couple of like chili pots. I've got a few in the bedroom, a few in the kitchen, a couple in the living room. Soon it'll be all over, won't it? There'll be pots everywhere. So again, just making sure that they're in contact with the soil and the moisture, and then I'm just going to get a little bit of, oopsie, no, I missed again. There we go. Did a little bit of vermiculite with the compost. Just do a thin topping. I used to be really scared of using vermiculite and perlite. I have no idea why, but it was like, what is that? I don't know what it is. What's it for? Why are you using it? How much do you use? And now I'm a bit more confident. And basically what it does is it just helps aerate the soil so it doesn't become waterlogged, and seedlings might find it a little bit easier to manoeuvre. The vermiculite on the top also helps, one with retaining moisture, and also it allows light to reflect off it, which also helps. But these are little things that when you first start out you think, well, what am I supposed to do with that? I don't really know. And also where to get it from. Now, it used to be that you'd have to go to your garden centres and things, but now discount shops have become so good at getting this sort of stuff in. I mean, come summer, your pound shops are just absolutely like brimming with bags of vermiculite and twine and all sorts. So you can really pick it up from anywhere. This is what I got last year. It's lasted me absolutely ages, so it does last year as well. You don't actually use that much. There's quite a lot of good videos out there to do with how much to use, when to use it, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I used to be absolutely like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why would you use that? Is it good? Is it bad? But now I realise it does actually loosen up your compost, and if you're not using a specialist thin seed compost, it's good for that. if you're just using a general multi-purpose. Right, so that's me broccolis done and knocked over. Dear me, I am clumsy today. I'll just have another slurp of my coffee. Another thing I've been wondering about lately is growing main crop potatoes. How do you know how many you need? There's lots of information out there as to how many you plant per foot, in rows and by weight, but there's nothing about, as a family, how do you work out how many seed potatoes you need, as into how many potatoes each seed potato is going to produce. If anybody has any links or knows where to find that information out of curiosity, please put it in the comments, because I'm trying to figure out how many potatoes we're going to need, because I didn't grow anywhere near enough last year. It's something I googled and I went on YouTube. Like I say, it tells you per pound and per foot, but it doesn't actually tell you how many seed potatoes you produce, how many potatoes are produced from each seed potato. I mean, I'm growing Valor because we like to eat Valor, and I normally actually purchase, in terms of cooking, because we're a family of 7, I would normally purchase a sack of potatoes maybe once every 5 to 6 weeks. So we use a lot of potatoes, as you can imagine. So really I want to be growing as much as possible, but I can't find that information. I know it's something I'll probably learn as I go along, but it'll be interesting to find out if anyone has any links or knows how to work it out in that way. Again, it's a question you see come up on some of the Facebook forums as well. And what I like about the Facebook forums is that there's no question that's too silly to ask either. I asked a question regarding how to hang me guttering. If I'm going to do peas in a gutter, how do I hang them in a greenhouse? But instead of putting guttering, because I'd had a long busy day, I put drain pipe. So then I had a lot of comments regarding the drain pipe and that I meant guttering. I knew I meant guttering. But again, I didn't feel silly because it's a friendly environment to go on. Right, so I'm going to do the Cape Gooseberry. Again, I'm going to do it the same as I've done the others, just a sprinkle on the top, then I'll prick out as I get further along. These are very small seeds. Now the Cape Gooseberry, although we class it as a fruit, it is actually, it's sort of comes from the tomato family, so it grows very, very good. Can you see those? So they're very tiny. Now, I was uncertain as to whether these would germinate last year, so I was really surprised. They actually germinated very, very well. And I was really pleased with them. So I think once these are up, I might see if the primary school would like some, because they're really working on their vegetable garden this year, and they might appreciate something different, because a lot of children don't get the opportunity to try things like this, because some people, if it's something in the supermarket and they're not sure of, they'll walk past it, and they're so expensive to buy a small tray of these as well. And I didn't realise how easy they were to grow until last year. So that's it. So very thinly, they only need a little sprinkle of vermiculite across the top, just like this, because they're very small seeds, so as you would tomatoes. And then I'm going to put them somewhere warm inside. I don't have a heated propagator yet, but it is on my list. I've got a list, and that list has 3 columns. The first column is functional. The second column is frills, and the third column is fantasy. So I don't know if I've told you about this before. So in my functional column is things I need to get and do that are an absolute necessity for the allotment and growing to work. So things like compost, tidying up the beds, weeding. Things that are frills are stuff that looks good, I don't really need, but I want and is doable, so is possibly within budget. So a heated propagator is, for me, is a frill. It's not a necessity because I've got a windowsill, but it's something I would like. And it's something that isn't that expensive to buy, so I probably could actually get one. In my fantasy column is a polytunnel, because for me this year a polytunnel is a fantasy. It's way out of budget for us, for what we need, and we don't need it. I just want one. Again, like in the shed, I would like to have nice soft furnishings. I'd like a new little gas oven. But they're, for this year, for this growing season, that'll be a fantasy because I don't really need them. So the idea is that I do my functional column, then I start working on my frills, and hopefully eventually some of the fantasy things will come across to the frills column and I'll eventually get on them. So that's how I've worked my list out. Otherwise we'd just go on wanting stuff all the time, wouldn't we? Right, radishes. So again, pretty much the same. I'm just going to do 50% compost mix with 50% perlite. So that's a trowel and a trowel. Mix it together like that, and that's how I mix it. A trowel and a trowel. Now what shall I put my radishes in? I could just do them in a smaller seed tray, couldn't I? What have I got? Excuse me, I'm not very organised as per usual. So I'm going to do them in a module. What I've got up here, just to show you. So when you're filling your modules up, it's important to get your fingers and push the soil in, the compost in. Because if you just lay it on, it looks like it's full and it hasn't, and then there'll be air gets in there. So we just want to push down, make sure it's firmed in, like so. I'm just going to do those two for now. Again, the seeds are very much like a brassica. With a radish, these are French breakfast, sorry. These are the ones that I've grown for years and years. So if you look at the seeds, that's what they look like. And again, I'm just going to sow thinly in each module, just like that. Now you could do these in smaller modules and be quite precise and maybe do 3 or 4 per module and plant them out in clumps. So I'll prick these out later on. It's just that I'm struggling on my trays at the moment. So make sure they're all in contact with the soil. My compost is quite moist so I'm not really watering anything in today. Because they're a larger seed, I'm just going to give it a little sprinkle over. There we go. It's something I keep forgetting to do. So even though I sorted my seed box out and I've got everything in sorted into months of the year, I've been a bit rubbish. So we've just got the borage to do.